Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Speaking of Charity. My name is Gloria, aka GoGo Morris, and I am here today with another virtual edition with the Chicago Blues Revival and Jeff Pinzino. Am I saying that right, Jeff?
You got it.
Awesome. Well, nice to meet you. I know we had a chance to meet briefly before, but it's nice to formally have you on the show.
Oh, it's an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, so we got connected very recently through our friends at the Impact House, and I really appreciate that connection. We are looking for organizations to highlight and feature, and usually those that people might not know about that, I find to be really intriguing. This is definitely one of them. So number one, Jeff, tell us who Jeff is, and then we'll get into a little bit more about the organization after that.
Sure. So I come from a musical family. My mom ran a music school all the years that I was growing up. I was about 11 when I pulled a record from their record collection, which was the first time that I heard a blues style harmonica, fell in love with the sound and said, I have to learn how to play this. And so that was what started kind of a lifelong love of the music. I played in blues bands when I was in college. And then after college, set off into the nonprofit world where I've done work as a community organizer and in fundraising and philanthropy. And it was in 2017 that I had a job that took me to New Orleans once a month. And being a musician, in addition to doing exciting work, was excited to see and experience the jazz scene up close. And part of what I saw was a network of organizations that helped to keep it vital. You had the Jazz and Heritage Foundation and Preservation Hall. There's a radio station. There's a health clinic for musicians, like so many efforts in addition to all of the educational programs that help to keep that scene strong. And so coming back to Chicago, I said, I know about the Old Town School of Folk Music. I know the Jazz Institute of Chicago. What's the blues organization in town? And realizing that there really isn't one. There are a couple of great little museums and a summer program for kids. But in terms of a group that is looking out for the overall health of the scene, there wasn't one. And it shows. You have a lot of the musicians in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and a lot of the audience that is aging as well. And so a big piece of what we try to do is to connect to a younger generation of musicians and to have programs that bring in the community to see and experience this music such that it can continue for generations to come. We are especially focused on the communities that are the historic home of the blues. That's the Bronzeville neighborhood on the south side and the greater Garfield Park area on the west side. So we do three things as an organization. We support musicians, which was big for us during the pandemic. We are in the process of developing high school blues programs with a pilot on the west side, hopefully for September. And then are working in neighborhoods, and Bronzeville being one of the big ones. So our partnership with the Chicago Blues Festival this year is the first time that there has been neighborhood programming associated with the festival. There's a full day of events in Bronzeville that we are working with them to help produce and to find volunteers to help us on that day.
So tell me, Jeff, because, again, a lot of people may not understand all of the work that's been done. When you went to New Orleans and you saw this basically infrastructure of supporting this, kind of dying breed of musicians, which is sad, you had this inspiration to come back to Chicago and you didn't find anything. What was the process that you went through to actually set up a 501c3 for this? Was it something that you had experience with already? And did you have support?
So I I have started organizations in the past, and so I was familiar enough with the paperwork to get it started. But the big piece of that work in getting it started was getting a sense from people in the blues community about what an organization could be most useful in doing.
Right.
So I did a series of 50 conversations with musicians, fans, club and label owners, and anybody that would sit down with me, basically, to say what is most needed in this scene. How can an organization help to support that? And that's kind of what led us to those three areas of work that we're involved with today. And especially during the pandemic, the neighborhood work has been particularly strong, a focus of our work. Last summer, we had 6 events in Bronzeville, and we believe that is the most live blues that has happened in that neighborhood since the Checkerboard Lounge closed 20 years ago. Many of your listeners that may remember that place. So
And I'd love for you to talk a little bit, because the first time we talked, I literally had chills thinking about, all of the blues, the places that everybody knows, your Kingston Mines, the places that, you don't think to go to all the time, but they're so historic and meaningful to the city of Chicago. It's just interesting that you were able to, I love the idea that you went to like 50 different people and interviewed them to really understand what would give this foundation its real core value. And so when you went and you had those interviews and you went through that process, you said you started in 2017. How long did
it was maybe 6 months.
So you worked in a pretty fast, it sounds like you had some real intrinsic motivation to get this to happen quickly.
Yeah. I mean, this is music that I love. It is I love the process of building organizations as well. And as a former community organizer, this is kind of what I do. And
Great.
bringing people together. So we brought a board together. We brought an advisory committee of musicians and folks in the industry that have been extremely helpful to us. We work really closely with the city's Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. There is starting to be a bigger momentum around the work. And at this point, we are inviting in folks that are interested, even casual blues fans, folks that are interested in seeing this cultural legacy of the city continue.
What is the power behind the music, in your opinion, and how does that impact our communities, especially those in communities like Bronzeville and Garfield Park? What does the music mean to their spirit and their well-being?
Yeah. I had somebody, there have been many different definitions of blues and the power of that music. One that springs to mind right now is that it is a music of healing. For people that have experienced hard times, it's a chance to find resiliency in the face of that. And especially as an art form that has grown out of the African American experience, I think one that is particularly relevant to events today. We are as part of our programming, working with young people to expose them, often for the first time, to this music. And there's been just it's been so powerful to see as young people tap into it and see, oh, that's what this is all about. And even if they decide as musicians, it's not going to sound the same as it did in 1950 or in 1920. They will reinvent it for their own place and time. We encourage that process, but we think that there is power in young musicians to say, I am part of a lineage of this music that extends back and has been a lifeline for so many for so long.
That's beautiful, very impactful, and again, not top of mind for everybody to really think about the power of the blues just heritage and lineage in that process of building spirit and community. So going back to this event that's happening in Millennium Park, well, the Blues Festival happens in Millennium Park, but this is the first time you said that there's going to be an event exclusively outside of that, and it's really around your organization, correct?
Right. Well, in partnership with our organization, we have a big debt of gratitude to the city for making this possible and including this in the programming for the Blues Fest and with the full support and input of the Blues Fest Planning Committee this year. So the Blues Fest, as you'll see it this year, there are four nights of concerts on 3 stages in Millennium Park. There will be a day in Austin on the west side on Saturday, and then Sunday is the big day in Bronzeville. And because of the work that we've been doing in Bronzeville, it allows for a much more community engaged performance, and one that I think is going to draw a different kind of audience than may come to the shows downtown. More neighborhood folks being able to access and participate in the event. And there's going to be an amazing lineup that day too. We have.
Can you give us a sneak peek?
Yeah, sure. So 2 of the top up and coming blues musicians on the scene today. So Michael Damani and Melody Angel are both performing on Sunday. Big James is they are a big band, Chicago Blues, with a horn section. There are other acts that are performing that day, and then it caps off with a tribute to Muddy Waters with an all-star band, including folks that played in Muddy's band back in the day. Billy Branch on harmonica, who is one of the top in Chicago at this time, and a number of special guests, and Mud Morganfield, who is family of Muddy Waters, playing and represented that day. So it should be a special day of music. And it's at Armstrong Park, which is in the heart of Bronzeville, and should be a beautiful day.
So one of the reasons why you and I connected through the Impact House is the Impact Foundation is because we want to find ways to give back. So people listening to this, we want to give people all kinds of options to consider when they're thinking about how they spend their philanthropy funds or their personal time actually doing things with their hands and feet. So you have some volunteer opportunities, it sounds like, during this event. And what a fun event to be a part of. What would be involved for the volunteers? How many volunteers are you looking for? When, where, what are the logistics there?
And we're looking for a total of 40 volunteers in shifts over the course of the day. So folks can come as early as 8 a.m. when we would be setting up stages and needing people to help kind of coordinate that and help with the setup, the sign-in tables, and helping to set up tents for some of our nonprofit partners that are going to be there that day. Starting at noon, the music itself starts. So answering questions or being there for festival goers, like, okay, the porta potties are over there, walking through the grounds, just making sure that things are kept clean. If there are any backstage requests that the musicians have, we're going to do our best to accommodate those. And then, so it is all in one space. So the volunteers will be able to hear and experience the music throughout the day as well. And then
Wonderful.
At the end, after 8 o'clock, we'll be helping with the breaking things down and cleaning up the site.
Wonderful. Well, I definitely will be helping to put a little campaign together to get the word out through this forum and others. So what is the website people could go to, or what's the contact information you can share if people want more information?
So we are at chicagobluesrevival.org.
Gotcha.
And I can share with you too, we have a volunteer sign up Google form that that folks can use if they want to pick a shift that they want to be a part of to help out. So
Great, great. Well, this was super informative, and it was great to meet you formally on the show. I hope to see some volunteers come together for you. And after this event is over, any other different things people can do to be involved throughout the year if they can't make the June 12th
sure,
work?
we have plenty. There are going to be a series of concerts in Bronzeville this summer. And on the west side, including a Night Out in the Park series, which you can find through the Chicago Park District, where we're presenting top blues talent in different places. So we'll definitely need volunteers for future shows, and are looking for financial support as well, especially to get this new pilot high school blues program off the ground. So if people have special skills that they want to share with the organization, whether that's marketing, accounting, social media, you name it, we probably need it, and are looking for pro bono volunteers in all of those areas.
Great. Those are great things to list because sometimes people can't, physically be there, but we might be able to get some help for you in that department as well. So, well, again, Jeff, thank you so much for making the time. I'm glad we were finally able to connect. Your meeting or your event is in 2 short weeks. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of interest to get some help. And then, it's just great to learn more about the organization. And we look forward to additional conversations and different events.
Likewise, thank you so much for your time today. And it's been a pleasure talking with you. We're excited to see what we can all do together to support.
Wonderful. You have been watching Speaking of Charity. We're normally on WJOB in Northwest Indiana, but these are just kind of special segments to highlight really interesting things going on in the community and the people behind them. So Jeff, great work with this organization, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Bye, everyone.